today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good too. Thanks for asking. So I know just wanted to recap a little bit of what happened last week that we discussed. We just discussed a little bit about school, a little bit about your life, your family, and also about your incident. I'm so sorry that happened, by the way. But I was wondering, like, if you had any questions as well before we start.
Um, yeah. So this is something that kind of stuck with me after last time, and I wouldn't say it's like about anything in particular, but it's about therapy. Are you sure like my problems are worth therapy time? Because I don't see them as that big of a deal, and I know I was told to come here from homeroom teacher, and my mom kind of agreed with them. Um, I do like a lot of taking care of myself. Like my mom's like a good financier, I guess, for my life. Like she provides for me, but she doesn't necessarily. She's like not always there to like be a part of my life. And so like looking at like taking care of myself and stuff, I just don't necessarily see like my problems as like a big deal. Like, does that make sense? I just like
Yeah. So you're
I'm asking your
yeah.
your opinion on like, am I in the right place, kind of?
No worries. Yeah, so let me rephrase that. So you're saying my problems are insignificant and it's not worth to be in therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd use the strong. Yeah, I was gonna say the strong language of insignificant, because they are problems, but like I don't know if they're like there are things that I like deal with daily, and I feel like I do a decent job managing them to the best of my ability. But I don't know if they're like therapy. Like I don't really know a lot about therapy, so are they like therapy worthy?
I see. So what would be therapy worthy?
I don't know, the stuff that you like see in movies and TV, like people that are like depressed or like have like some severe brain issue, like I think one of them's called schizophrenia or something like that. So like behaving like differently, I guess, non-normal.
I see. Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought that up because it is a good question to ask. But I would like to say, those severe cases, there's certain people who would see them, and like you brought up schizophrenia. It is a really interesting disorder, but it's something that's not in this company. So with therapy, I wouldn't say goals, but a lot of the time we see many kinds of clients. Yes, like you're correct about that. But the biggest thing I want you to take from therapy is finding more about yourself, maybe finding more about an outlook on life as well. And you can also add anything to your goals. So the biggest thing with therapy to take away is not only just looking at any problems in life, but the best thing that we can do to cope with anything that's happening around us.
Okay. So it's not just for there's different types of therapy, I guess, and different types of therapists.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a therapist that doesn't necessarily deal with some of those like different ones, but
yeah, that would be outside of what's called my scope of competence. So I don't have the information necessary for me to work with more severe cases. I do have some colleagues that do, and it's interesting to see how they work in that field, but mainly I'm here to support you, to support your decisions, and to also look through what we can do around things that happen in life.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Alright, I'm glad.
Yeah, besides that, nothing really, like, yeah, I don't have any other questions really.
Yeah, perfect. So after we talked about that a little bit, do you have more of a outlook to the future of therapy? Optimistic views?
Um, yeah, I think I left last time with like a good view of therapy. Like I saw potential, like I saw potential in it. I was just kind of like I guess confused about what I had asked you, kind of like I guess where I fit into the equation.
I see.
And then yeah, so that's what I was confused. But I did see potential, and so now yeah, I'd say like reestablish like there's potential I see
Yeah, I'm glad.
in therapy.
For sure. So now let's continue.
Yeah.
So I know we left off on a couple of different things, but I do want to give it to your hands and ask how we can continue any of those conversations. I know some of them are a little sensitive because when accidents do happen to us, or and it affects our life, it can be pretty hard to talk about. But I want to leave it up to you. Like, where would you like to continue?
Mm, yeah, I don't really. I don't know. We can. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't have. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. So, how have you been doing with school recently?
Um, I'd say it's a lot of the same. That I mentioned last week. So, um, not like I don't feel too motivated to do work. Um, I don't really see the point in it still. And to me, it's kind of pointless. So I'm not really doing it. And then, like, I haven't had any tests since then, but I don't. I'd probably still fail the test.
Oh, I see. Do you have any tests coming up soon?
I think there's gonna be a test in like a week and a half, 2 weeks from now.
I see. Do you have like anxiety building up towards the test coming up?
Like very, very slight because it's still far off in the distance, but it'll be a slight build up. Like right now, it's like kind of in the background, like it's there, and it seems to be always there, I guess. When I become aware of the test, but it's still down the line, so it's not too extreme. But give it like a week till, somewhere within the 5 to 7 day period. Like it'll be there. Like its presence will be known too, in my heartbeat and kind of sweaty palms and just like a need to like this need to pass, but I end up failing. So
I see. So you end up failing, right? What makes you feel like? Do you have anything that you want to maybe not fail?
not like okay, so not really,
I see.
and that kind of comes back to like I just don't right now. When I was passing classes, even when I had like anxiety about my tests, when I was passing classes and stuff like that, I had this thought of going to college, doing sports in college, like not a major college, but like some D3 or like smaller college. Playing sports in college. I didn't really like know what major I wanted to do. I kind of had like a general sense of like something in the science-ish area, but like I had this goal. I like got injured, and even before I got injured, I that goal started to dwindle, and then I got injured, and that took like a major like downturn, and like now like I don't really see myself going to college. I don't really. I feel like I'm just kind of like done. So I just don't really see the point anymore, and that's kind of where like I'd say like my like why I don't care, why I don't really have any goals, because I just why I don't have any education goals, because I don't have any like long term. I don't like know what I'll end up doing after, but like at this point I don't really care.
I see. So you don't have a sense of what your future could be, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sense of what your present could be, maybe?
Like I know what my present is, but I don't. Yeah.
I see. And we can look at the past too. Like we saw, you did pass your classes and you had, those futures in mind as well. But in the present, you don't. And because of the present, you're seeing, I'm not able to look and do what I wanted to do because of what happened to me. Alright. So if we don't have our past goals, do you currently have any present goals?
Like I think overall, I'd like to be a little less anxious as a person. And I know some of the anxiousness has to do with like tests and stuff like that. But kind of, yeah, to lose some anxiousness, but like I just kind of have been doing what I find fun, so like playing video games or hanging out with my buddies. Yeah, so like that's kind of what I find important and kind of what I'm focusing on right now, just doing my own thing.
I see. So currently it's just doing your own thing, and that's with being around friends, correct? I see. And that's a good thing, is to have a surrounding yourself with people that love you love them, and having that support as well. I know that you're very close. You're in your senior year as well. Do you have any hopes for graduation as well?
At this point, unless I turn my grades in a couple classes around, I really won't have a graduation because I won't graduate. But yeah, I'm not really like worried about it.
I see. You're not worried about it.
Not really. Yeah, caring. I don't really care.
I got you. So I don't see a point in doing homework. I don't see my future in graduation. So graduation is not too much of a big concern for you. Okay. I see. Do you fear maybe what would happen if you don't graduate?
At a point in the past, yeah, I'd say I did.
Okay.
At this point right now, no. Like, I'm just gonna get a job after school's out, and I just go home living, I guess.
I see. So that is something that can definitely be a goal, and it's good that you do have that future insight of having a job as well. That's very neat. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I see. Great. Because I know with education, it can be pretty tough. We're always hearing stuff. I mean, your homeroom teacher was, worried about you and your grades, right? So I would assume maybe you feel stressful about that too.
About grades?
I'm thinking more possibly, your teacher. Or speaking of your homeroom teacher, I know we kind of had a week away, and I'm wondering, because you're going to be seeing them, if they had any questions or if anything happened between you two.
They reached out to me and asked me how it was going. I just kind of gave them a general gist of like my experience with it, which was good. And I think they go to therapy themselves or something because they understand like it's not a overnight change type of thing, so they didn't really press the issue. They just kind of asked how it went and what was going on,
I see.
and that was it.
Yeah. And they are correct. It takes time, eventually to get to a point where we can succeed in our goals or start them as well in therapy. It is a process. And I know there's that, like I remember you mentioned earlier in our last session where it was like, oh, it's gotta be one and done. And that's a common misconception with therapy. So I'm glad you had that conversation with them.
That's helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad. Alright, so we talked a lot about school. I know we kind of briefly mentioned your folks last time.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go around that as well, if you want to talk about family a little bit.
Yeah. Since last session, I haven't seen my dad. I hardly ever see him. He's cool, but he's just every once in a while we see each other. I mean, my mom's like happy that I'm going to therapy. In her words, it's long overdue, but
it's long overdue.
Yeah, but I don't. The weight in what she's saying, I don't hold the weight in what she's saying because I kind of ask, what does she know? I don't think she truly knows who I am. I think she raised me and loved me and loves me, and it's like there in terms of like financial support, but I don't remember the last time like we've just hung out, the two of us, for a weekend or like an extended period of time, So that's kind of what's happened with mom. No siblings. I sometimes wish, I wish I had like more siblings or more family, because my mom's grandparents aren't in the picture. From what I've heard, they kind of like cut relations with my mom and family because they disapproved of having a kid. So I was BS. I've met my dad's grandparent. I've met my dad's side's my paternal grandparents like 2 or 3 times, just throughout my life. And then my dad's not really there, and he kind of has like a whole like new family. And it's kind of bullshit because he's like a part of that family, I guess. So like it sucks, but at least he's like every once in a while is there for me. So yeah, family's kind of been, it's been on and down, I guess. I wouldn't say up and down, but yeah.
I see. So family's feeling up and down.
Yeah, and I'd say it's on the downspin of the up and downs.
I see. Would you like to talk more about why or how come it's been on the down?
Just not. I know I mentioned like my dad's comes into my life every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a month. It's been a couple months since I've seen him. Mom's been really like super busy with work, and so I've seen less of her. It's a lot of like me time or alone time when I'm at home, and so I think that's what I would chalk it up to. Yeah, so I've spent more time with my friends and stuff, and more time like out of the house, like doing things, going places, going on adventures and stuff, but less time at home. So yeah, I kind of, because of all this lack of interest at home, I guess, or lack of face-to-face with people at home on my home front, family front, I've been spending more time with my friends to kind of fill that void, I guess.
I see. I know, I believe last time we talked about, you mentioned your friends are kind of like family.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Now you mentioned that they kind of like fill in a void. So I'm kind of curious as to what kind of void that was.
I guess I'd say like a closeness with people. My dad's not in the picture that much, so the closeness isn't like as much as it could be. Because when we're together, like we are close, like we have good conversations, we hang out, play sports, do things, watch movies and stuff. But it's not often like he's not, it's very few, far and few. And then my mom, she's there, but we're not really like close. Like I mentioned earlier, like she doesn't really like know me. So with like my friends that I've kind of met through sports or activities or school, my friends, like I'm close with my friends. Like we talk about feelings and we talk about, like they know who I am, they get me. This is the best way to describe it. I can try and describe it in like small words and stuff. But like they get me, I get them. We share like important stuff, I guess. So, yeah, we share things that are important to us. Trying to encompass like, yeah.
I see. Do you guys share what's important? Could you give an example of what one of those may be?
Yeah, and by important, I don't mean, the word is like escaping my mind, but important, but like, because important is not the word I'm looking for, but like, I guess you could say like intimate things, like when I get pissed off at my mom or when my dad does something, like they're the person I would go and tell or talk about. So just really like the two words that keep coming to my mind are not the words I'm looking to describe it, so it's hard. It's not close to the chest because that's just important. I guess like intimate would be like the closest thing, like just real things, like yeah, sometimes we talk about random crap. What happened at school? What do we think about this conspiracy? Like we talk about random stuff, but we also like talk about like some deep and personal stuff. That's the word I was looking for. Personal. My goodness. It took me like 5 minutes. Holy crap. My goodness. Yeah.
Deep and personal things, yeah. And that's something with a lot of trust, isn't it?
There's a lot of trust, for sure.
You have a strong trust with personal things with your friends, and Do they share also personal and intimate things to you as well?
Some of them. I guess I'd say not all of them, though. But yeah, I definitely share a lot with a lot of people, and they're not always doing the same thing. But I mean, even if they don't, it makes me feel better when I do. Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm happy you have that support with your friends, and it's really nice to hear that from you, because I'm seeing on your face as well, you're like smiling, just like remembering your friends as well, and I'm happy you have that. I really am.
Yeah, thank you.
So, sadly, we did run out of time, and I feel like we left today on like a pretty good note. So I'm wondering, any last minute things would you like to discuss?
No, I don't really have anything on the top of my head of like what I'd like to discuss. I would agree that left on a positive note. That is kind of reassuring, or not reassuring, but happy. It like brings joy to think about. Yeah, think about my friends and the trust that's there. And then I'm also smiling, laughing, kind of at the fact that I couldn't find that word for like 5 minutes, and that was like
It's okay, we came
the
to
perfect
a
word.
conclusion,
Just kind of makes, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we found the exact phrase to find things, because it is a good feeling, as well as being able to help me picture as well, like how you see your friends as well. So that really helps me as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I just important was not doing it, and you had like asked about important, and I was like, that sounds just comes off differently. So I wanted to correct that.
Alright, so next week, just come in with any ideas, any questions, especially now that we went through what therapy will look like for you. Some goals, such as what we're going to do after high school, and also a little bit about your family, which are friends, as we've established as well. So, yeah.
Okay. See you next week.
See
Thank you.
My eyes are drooping, so